By the tyrants. And I always resent it when they say you want to go back to the old ages. And of course, if you believe in liberty, this is the most advanced idea ever known to man. And the greatest experiment was in this country. And we've been about to throw it away if we're not careful. And so it to me indicates that you really can't totally stamp that out. Just think, one life that I thought was remarkable was Solzhenitsyn's life. Because there he was born at the time of the revolution. He was raised there in a country that was totally totalitarian. And by the time he got out of the Soviet system, he was speaking fluent English. He knew all the Western literature, and he was not a communist. So even with all that oppression, I mean, his desire and his willingness and ability to still cling on to the truth was rather remarkable. So I think that exists all around the world, and maybe so. Maybe it's not only we in the United States that are upset with governments messing things up. Maybe, and I think rightfully so. There's a few countries in Europe that have messed up their systems too.
Yeah.
So they're rallying around this. So I am just so delighted and so happy that I've been able to contribute something, but so happy that there are people like you out there. Because believe me, there would be nothing to the campaign unless we had people like you doing this. Because the money was significant, the money is significant, and the people are significant, the meetup groups, the technology, and the internet, and everything is just fantastic what's happening. So I am very very pleased to come and visit, and thank you for this effort, and tell you that things are going exceptionally well, but I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't even know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Call Jim Grant and a few others like that down there to help me out at the Department of Treasury.
Are you going to accept matching funds, or are you going to say no to that? What's your...
Oh, yeah.
I'm not planning on... Well, I'm not taking matching funds. I would.
Yeah!
There was one suggestion, I have to admit, it was by my son. We have three sons, but one is more into it than others, and he says, Dad, you got to take those matching funds. And I said, no, he says, no, I know you would never spend them, but take them and write this big check and take them back and deliver it to the Treasury and put it against the deficit symbolically. Buy gold with it and put it back in.
I asked you about why didn't you go ahead and take him. He says, I'm not going to use stolen money.
That reminds me of my bumper sticker. It's been on the website. You know, if you come to my office, I think Jim Grant was there and saw that. It says, the bumper sticker on my desk says, don't steal, the government hates competition. That gets a lot of media people come in. They always take a snapshot. I hope they get the message. Any other questions?
I got two quick questions. First, are you having fun? And second, how can we help?
Yeah.
Well, the help is finances, supporters, and doing exactly what everybody seems to be doing right now. Am I having fun? One of the rules I have for everybody when I talk to meetup groups and people like this, I said, if you're interested, do it. Work hard. I mean, we go out and we see people stand on street corners like, not for an hour, hours and hours and hours, and go to these rallies and pass out literature. I said, look, if you do it, I feel like, are you sure you want to spend that much time and energy? I said, you better be having fun doing it.
Yeah, we do.
If you're having fun, then it doesn't seem like such hard work. So, am I having fun? Yes, but there are times when I am having less fun than others. No, if I go for 5 or 6 or 7 days and I don't get rejuvenated by going to Texas and taking 24 hours off, I get pretty tired. But when I meet people, come to events like this, I do get energized, and there's a lot of people say I energize you, but actually it's mostly coming the other way, because if you didn't exist, I wouldn't exist. I would still be doing my daily voting and trying to set a record and set a standard, and hopefully in 100 years somebody would recognize, well, at least I'm trying.
So I just invested in gold, and I think it's extremely important. And I tried to tell my parents how important it is. And could you tell my parents how important it is to invest in gold?
I don't know whether I should be giving out investment advice, but I'll tell you one
With
thing.
the dollar dropping and value?
I'll tell you this way without giving investment advice.
Okay.
From a political standpoint of view and an economic standpoint of view, don't depend on the Federal Reserve note to preserve wealth, because it's impossible and you're going to lose. If you really trusted the Federal Reserve note and the dollar system, and you have a baby born and you say, well, I have to have money for that child to go to college, would you buy a government bond for 20 years? And I think that it would have value and keep up with the cost of education going up. Nobody would dare do that. So stay out of dollars and go to honest money. See, okay, this is not an investment. Honest money is what the Constitution says. Gold and silver is legal tender.
Right.
Use it.
Okay, thank you.
You get a lot of people that come up to you in private and say, I'm really with you, but in order to get elected, I have to talk this way to get elected. You haven't compromised on your principles in any way. And I notice a lot of politicians, I don't know if they maybe really feel this way, but they're afraid to actually tell the public and be as honest as you are.
You mean other politicians
Absolutely.
being frank with me?
Yes.
Oh, all the time. And they don't even. One person. This was a liberal Democrat. He wrote me the nicest note. I used to carry around and read it, because he essentially said, "I read your speech. It was most fantastic." He says, "I'm going to steal liberally from it." He says, "I just wished I was honest enough to do exactly as you were doing." It was very, very nice and complimentary. He said it was a great speech, and he would steal from it and use it, but he wouldn't vote my way. But no, a lot of them will say, because I take these votes every once in a while by myself, like a good many times, and people will come up, other members will come up and say, I know you're right, I do that. I can't explain it. I don't want to go home. It's too much work, and it's just not worth the effort. And besides, they may misinterpret it, and then I'd lose my election. I couldn't be here to do all these good things I'm doing for my constituents.
Yeah.
So no, I hear it all the time. And
Is there anybody who might endorse you? It could be a tipping point. It could really throw it over.
How about some of the other minor candidates?
I haven't.
Greenspan who could go back to his libertarian group.
There will be, but I think there's a lot more conversation on the House floor with me than there used to be. It's a lot friendlier because all of a sudden they're converts, but all of a sudden they're perceiving the fact that there are more of us out there than they ever dreamed of.
Right.
There are.
And
There are.
Therefore, they are now being much friendlier and complimentary and paying attention. Maybe that'll come to that, but we're not all.
Have you asked anybody? Are you willing to ask anybody? Can you go for it? Can you just be like, hey, Chuck, can you give us me?
I have gotten close to it, and it's not been. There's no signs that that's going to happen. Because some of my closest friends have already endorsed other people, and at the beginning, especially, they saw this as a long shot. Now it's just a long shot, and they're coming over, and they're much more sympathetic. So that may change, but not in the next week or two.
Do you think you get more momentum if you choose a vice presidential running mate like a John Stossel or somebody that's relatively recognized and give you more credibility?
Yes, it will do it, but I think that I still think the strength comes from the message. But of course, John Stossel, and I've thrown his name out there when people keep pushing me. John Stossel would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Because, I don't think I'd want to throw that out in public. I'm telling